Maybe while we wait, I can give a little shout out to our wonderful Baines Coffee and Books. That are, if any of you don't know this, you probably do, but there's a bookstore and a coffee shop right inside our second stage building. And so if you're ever in the neighborhood and need a cold or hot beverage and want to stop by and look at the inventory of books, you might find something by a local author or just something else that might entice you. So we encourage you to drop by there. And also, of course, to stop by the center anytime you get a chance. Let's see, I can talk a little bit about next week. Let's see, next week we have Derrick Brown who's going to be reading for us at the same time next week. Looks like Nicholas is here. Hello, Nicholas.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm a little mad at technology right now because it just decided to do that whole upgrade. You've got a new upgrade thing.
Quite all right.
But I'm glad to make it here. I'm glad to make it here with you guys.
Well, we're happy to see you. I want to introduce everyone here to Nicholas George. He's our fabulous reader for this evening. And I'll just tell you that he is the founder of The Listening. And maybe, Nicholas, you could give us a 30-second or less elevator speech about The Listening.
30-second or less. That is my specialty. So, Listening, we are a tax-exempt nonprofit incorporated organization here in Central Virginia. Started in 2013. Our mission is to engage, change, and save lives with the performing arts, doing that through community engagement and youth programming.
That's fantastic. How long have you been doing that?
Let's see. Actually, we will be 8. We will be 8 years old, March 29th.
Well, fantastic. About the same as second stage.
Oh, yeah, nice.
I think so, yeah. So, hello, Sunny. Good that you are here to join us. I was hoping a few more people were going to come, but it is almost 7:35, so I think we should go ahead and get started. It looks like everyone is muted, so if you could just stay muted while Nicholas reads to us. We're so happy to have you here with us, Nicholas. Thank you so much for doing this. So without further ado, I'm going to mute myself and turn it over to you.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Thanks again, once again, to Second Stage and Amherst for reaching out. Reading, I mean, I know I'm biased for how much I love reading. It definitely helped me out a lot as a young person. When it comes to education, I definitely view it as one of the most fundamental pieces of our experience. So I'm glad to be able to read with you guys tonight. One of my favorite selections, just one of those random picks in a bookstore. I was with my wife before she was my wife and found this book in DC called Wisdom Teeth by Derrick Weston Brown. It is a collection of his original poetry, and each one I found to mean something to me just because it sounds like me. It makes sense in my head, and I'm honored to be able to share this with you guys tonight. This comes to us courtesy of PM Press, and we have the permission to be able to read this with you guys. So after you hear this reading, I definitely would encourage you guys to go and check it out on Amazon. You can get it over there. It's available in print and in Kindle. The piece today that I'll be reading from this book is called Remembering Bonita Applebaum. Bonita Applebaum be an onyx-colored Milky Way sprinkled infinity loop of a goddess's laugh. Bonita Applebaum be the pentatonic scale squeezed into form-fitting denim overalls. Bonita Applebaum be Coltrane's Naima at 88 beats per minute, riding an Ali Shaheed Muhammad breakbeat bareback. Bonita Applebaum be your daddy's woman before your mama came into the picture. Bonita Applebaum be leaving thugs breathless, their eyes leaking water from nostalgia. Bonita Applebaum's eyes shiny like a new vinyl, fresh like a Rudy Huxtable perm. Bonita Applebaum be your first. First back porch summer sunset French kiss. First pack of Nag Champa incense. First hip hop sample that made you seek out its source. Bonita Applebaum be 1989. baby dreads, saltfish, ginger beer, sweet iced tea, cassava, cola, champagne, mud cloth, head wraps, ashy knees, shea butter, library cards, bottled water, and rickety first-time ancestor shrines. Bonita Applebaum be Black folks in Birkenstock, and that's okay. Bonita Applebaum's bookshelf is bigger than yours. What you gonna do about it? Bonita Applebaum be a dog-eared copy of erotic noir. Bonita Applebaum be a light-skinned girl crush on Lisa Bonet, Jasmine Guy, Pebbles, and Tisha Campbell from House Party. Bonita Applebaum be dark-skinned girl crushes on Cheryl Lee Ralph, Eddie Murphy's first wife from Coming to America, and Karen White. Bonita Applebaum still knows the lyrics to every song on Eric B. and Rakim's Paid in Full. Bonita Applebaum be your first on-purpose poke on the dance floor. Bonita Applebaum be the reason you got a Sankofa tattoo on your left shoulder blade. Bonita Applebaum be the rasp of Q-Tip's voice that puts goosebumps on your girl's neck even now. Bonita Applebaum ain't 38, 24, 37 no more. Bonita Applebaum be 33 with a mortgage, with 2 degrees under her belt, and your mama still asks about Bonita. Bonita Applebaum be your son's 2nd grade teacher, guidance counselor, Spanish tutor. Bonita Applebaum drives a Toyota 4Runner, the hybrid model with the mud cloth seat covers. Bonita Applebaum is still slamming like a hip hop song. That was Bonita Applebaum, written by Derrick Weston Brown off of his collection of poetry, Wisdom Teeth. I find myself kind of going back to reading some of these because he is not only an amazing author and writer, he's an educator like myself. And I find his writing to really echo my experiences, you know, coming up in a similar generation. His writing really communicates that for me and in my context. The last piece of his that I'll read this evening is a piece called Bel Canto, written for Sean Bell and his family. Your mind wants to believe it was a misunderstanding. The officers were scared rookies. It was dark. But truth offers no allowances. Spread out before you are snatches of eyewitness accounts in print, the grainy footage of gun butts tempering jaws, the swollen voice of the fiance. This is a different type of jilting. No story of a runaway bride found with thawing feet and no sign of her imagined Latino abductor. No, you don't want to believe this. Your mind is tired of again. This happens. Same city. Same sons, same make and model, same implied threat, empty hands carry, same textbook response, same salvo, same torrential rain of shell casings, muting, a bell, clip emptied, reload. Your mind is a busted reel of images. That officer from grade school who never wore his gun around the students, reload. The stories you ghosted from the barber's chair, regulation, chokeholds, boot heels on testicles, a nightstick, renovating a ribcage, reload. The white boy in 10th grade, who caught a cafeteria tray to the head for Rodney King in 92, the forearm planted in your chest from the officer, who didn't care to hear your explanation for arriving late to a sold-out ball game, even though you bought tickets in advance. His words, no admittance, mean more now than then. You use this as your caption to narrate the picture of the uniformed triggermen in the photo, silent, unblinking, hands hidden behind their backs, at ease, acquitted. Your mind wants for a parable, a moral, and there isn't one. That was Bel Canto once again. I would highly encourage you guys, if prose, poetry, collections of such or anything that you're interested in, I would highly encourage you to get this. There's a lot of reviews on it from throughout the poetry community, and they are well-deserved in my honest opinion. Now, it is not lost on me that I'm reading this on Valentine's Day. Now, me, myself, I come with a particularly heavy dose of cynicism, but even putting that aside, I think that this next piece that I will read, this last selection of the night by Audre Lorde, is always timely. Now, for those of you who know anything about Audre Lorde, she is an acclaimed writer, speaker, poet, activist, like all of the things. Before her passing, I think was due to cancer, she wrote a lot about her perspective, her experiences. And as happens in these situations, these are experiences that are not novel. They are not new, they are not strange, but she's voicing them for those who don't have the opportunity to have their stories heard. This is coming from the selected works of Ms. Audre Lorde. And I found myself challenged in finding out what to read. Once again, for those of you who know anything about Audre Lorde, and she describes herself as such, but she is a Black lesbian poet. And I guess I get 2 out of 3, which isn't bad, but a lot of her input and perspective is like shattering and commanding. And I wanted to take the opportunity to read one of these that she read at an address at Hunter College. It's titled Difference and Survival. And I think with how we've gone through everything in 2020 and how 2021 has started, not only is there a pronounced call for unity, but I think the space for seeing how we're different and how that's okay to be different. I think that that makes this selection timely. It is lengthy, and that's on purpose and for a reason. So I encourage all to listen intently to these words by Audre Lorde. This is Difference and Survival. This is published by Norton, and we have their express consent to be reading this. If you guys are interested in any more, these are all available, and more of her works are available on Amazon. To those of you who sit here a little bemused, and I hope very proud, I speak to you as a poet whose role is always to encourage the intimacy of scrutiny. For I believe that as each one of us learns to bear that intimacy, those worst fears which rule our lives and shape our silences begin to lose their power over us. Last week, I asked a number of you if you felt different in any way, and each one of you said very quickly and in a similar tone, "Oh no, of course not. I don't consider myself different than anyone else." I think it's not by accident that each of you heard my question is as, are you better than? Yet each of you is sitting here right now because in particular, in some particular way and time, in some particular place, and for whatever reason, you dared to excel, to set yourself apart. And that makes you in this particular place and time different. And it is that difference I urge you to affirm and explore, lest it someday be used against you and against me. It is within our differences that we are both most powerful and most vulnerable. And some of the most difficult tasks of our lives are claiming the differences and learning to use those differences for bridges rather than as barriers between us. In a profit economy, which needs groups of outsiders as surplus people, we are programmed to respond to difference in one of 3 ways: to ignore it, by denying the testament of our own senses. "Oh, I never noticed." Or if that's not possible, then we try to neutralize it in one of 2 ways. If the difference has been defined for us in our introductory courses as good, meaning useful in preserving the status quo and perpetuating the myth of sameness, then we try to copy it. If the difference is defined as bad, that is revolutionary or threatening, then we try to destroy it. But we have few patterns for relating across differences as equals. And unclaimed, our differences are used against us in the service of separation and confusion, for we view them only in opposition to each other: dominant, subordinate, good, bad, superior, inferior. And of course, so long as the existence of human differences means one must be inferior, the recognition of those differences will be fraught with guilt and danger. Which differences are positive and which negative are determined for us by a society that has already established and already been established, and so must seek to perpetuate itself, faults as well as virtues. To excel is considered a positive difference. And so you will be encouraged to think of yourselves as the elite. To be poor or of color or female or homosexual or old is considered negative. And so these people are encouraged to think of themselves as surplus. Each of these imposed definitions has a place, not in human growth and progress, but in human separation, for they represent the dehumanization of difference. And certainly, there are very real differences between us of race, class, sex, age, sexuality, vision, but it is not the differences between us that tear us apart, destroying the commonalities we share. Rather, it is our refusal to examine the distortions which arise from their misnaming and from the illegitimate usage of those differences, which can be made when we do not claim them nor define them for ourselves. Racism. The belief in the inherent superiority of one race over all others, and thereby the right to dominance. Ageism, heterosexism, elitism. Those are some of the distortions created around human differences, all serving the purpose of further separation. It is a lifetime pursuit for each one of us to extract these distortions from our living at the same time as we recognize, reclaim, and define the differences upon which they are imposed, and explore what these differences can teach us about the future we all must share. And we do not have forever. The distortions are endemic in our society, and so we pour energy needing for exposing difference into pretending these differences do not exist, thereby encouraging false and treacherous connections. Or we pretend the differences are insurmountable barriers, which encourages a voluntary isolation. Either way, we do not develop tools for using our differences as springboards for creative change within our lives. Often, we don't even speak of human difference, which is a comparison of attributes best evaluated by their possible effect and illumination within our lives. Instead, we speak of deviance, which is a judgment upon the relationship between the attribute and some long fixed and established construct. Somewhere on the edge of all our consciousness, there is what I call the mythical norm, which each of us knows within our hearts is not me. In this society, that norm is usually defined as white, thin, male, young, heterosexual, Christian, and financially secure. It is within this mythical norm that the trappings of power reside. Those of us who stand outside that power for any reason often identify one way in which we are different, and we assume that quality to be the primary reason for all oppression. We forget those other distortions around difference, some of which we ourselves may be acting out within our daily lives. For unacknowledged difference robs all of us of each other's energy and creative insight and creates a false hierarchy. What does this mean for each one of us? I think it means that I must choose to define my difference as you must choose to define yours, to claim it and to use it as creative before it is defined for you and used to eradicate any future, any change. You must decide what it means to excel and to persevere beyond competence and why you do it. Or else this ability, this difference defined as good right now, because it appears to be promising a continuation of safety and sameness, this difference will be used to testify against your creativity. It will be used to cordon off those other differences defined or regarded as bad, improper, or threatening, those differences of race, sex, class, gender, and age, all those ways in which a profit economy defines its access or different people. And ultimately, it will be used to truncate your future and mine. The house of your difference is the longing for your greatest power and your deepest vulnerability. It is an indelible part of your life's arsenal. If you allow your difference, whatever it might be, to be defined for you by imposed externals, then it will be defined to your detriment always, for that definition must be dictated by the need of your society, rather than by merging between the needs of that society and the human needs of self. But as you acknowledge your difference and examine how you wish to use it, and for what, the creative power of difference explored, then you can focus it towards a future which we must each commit to ourselves in some particular way if it is to come to pass at all. This is not a theoretical discussion. I'm talking here about the very fabric of your lives, your dreams, your hopes, your visions, your place upon the earth. All of these will help to determine the shape of your future, as they themselves are born from your efforts and pains and triumphs of the past. Cherish them. Learn from them. Our differences are polarities between which can spark possibilities for a future we can't even now imagine, when we acknowledge that we share a unifying vision, no matter how differently expressed, a vision which exposes and supposes a future where we may all flourish, as well as a living earth upon which to support our choices. We must define our differences so that we may someday live beyond them, rather than change them. So, this is a call for each of you to remember herself and himself, to reach for new definitions of that self, and to live intensely. To not settle for the safety of pretended sameness and the false security that sameness seems to offer. To feel the consequences of who you wish to be, lest you bring nothing of lasting worth because you have withheld some piece of the essential, which is you. And make no mistake, you will be paid well not to feel, not to scrutinize the function of your differences and their meaning, until it will be too late to feel at all. You will be paid in insularity, in poisonous creature comforts, in false securities, in the spurious belief that the midnight knock will always be upon someone else's door. But there is no separate survival. Whew, that was Difference and Survival by Audre Lorde. Listen, moment of complete transparency. I was struggling because there's so much in here. And I know that as we all read, we carry our different biases of what we're into. You know, I'm traditionally into like sci-fi, comics, maybe a little Harry Potter every now and then if I feel like rereading it. But as a writer, the way that she's able to both with ease and complexity communicate her thoughts, and how they're still applicable. I can't recall when this was made. I think it was in the 70s. But for these things to still have relevance in 2021 is astounding, but also is a testament to her foresight, her own talent, and her differences. And I'm in love with the idea that our differences are the key to our survival. I am different from each of you, and in accepting those differences and learning those differences, and then me taking to task myself and learning them myself, is how we can all survive, how we can make it through. Somehow we made it through 2020, right? Somehow we made it through 2020, and we're still here. But it is in our differences that I believe we discover our superpowers and our ability to survive together. I know that my time is limited, but I want to once again thank Second Stage and Amherst for inviting me. I am here on the behalf of The Listening, which is a local nonprofit organization here in Lynchburg, Virginia. Similar to Second Stage, we believe that the arts can be used to make impact, tremendous impact in our community, changing lives, saving lives, doing some good trouble, in the words of late Representative, I'm gonna just call him John, just because I don't know. I feel like he would have been okay with that. I don't know if that's appropriate for me to say, but I feel like he would have been cool to grab a coffee on Main Street. So yeah, the work is aplenty, but I'm grateful for communities and organizations like Second Stage, like The Listening, and so many that are doing the work in this community of bringing people together.
Nicholas, thank you so much.
Thank
That was
you.
just wonderful.
Yeah, that was fabulous. Thank you, Nicholas.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. I can't take that much credit because that was, I would have grabbed some of my own work, but truth be told, I've been writing more grading assignments these days than poetry.
You're a beautiful, beautiful reader. So thank you for that.
Yeah, great selections.
Thank you.
So
Thank
I
you.
just want to mention real quickly that next week, as I said, we have Derrick Brown that's going to be reading with us, and he's going to be reading selections from This Is Your Time by Ruby Bridges and Still I Rise by Maya Angelou. So I know that that will be another great experience as this one was today. And I hope you'll join us. And please do tell your friends, your family, anywhere really in the world they can join us because it's virtual. So that's so great about this. So please spread the word. Nicholas, are you willing to take a few questions? If anyone, do you have time?
Sorry, I was muted. I tend to do that.
That's okay. If anyone has questions, does anyone have questions for Nicholas?
Where can we find some of your work?
Ooh, you know what's weird? I was not expecting that question. I'm actually putting a website together. Shh. I'm actually putting a website together. I've been writing and performing in the community for a while now, and at 33, I feel like I should be a bit more proactive about it. And honestly, since things live forever on the internet, I would love for my kids to like discover it someday and see like, holy shit, my dad was thinking this stuff too. So yes, there are some pieces of my writing out there. I think I have a few videos on YouTube. I do have a Medium page. I can share the link in the comments.
That would be great.
Great.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Anyone else out there have questions for Nicholas?
How long have you been in Lynchburg, Nicholas?
I landed in Lynchburg, let's see, 2004. 2004. I'm originally from Newark, New Jersey, and I got here with the idea that college was just like they said in the TV shows, which meant a lot of girls and other substances that you don't want your parents to find out about. And I figured Lynchburg was the place for that somehow. But yeah, I've been here since 2004. I didn't really get invested in the community though until 2009. I had come back from an internship in DC and I was living off campus. And I think it kind of started with the Ann Spencer House here in Lynchburg. I don't know if any of you have had the chance to visit, but as a historical landmark, as a beautiful landmark,
Yeah.
it was one of the things that led me to the idea of this community having a lot more capacity than was visible on the surface.
Right.
So since then, I've been regularly surprised. Actually, before this, before my computer did that involuntary restart, I was having a conversation, like a fundraiser conversation with another artist that I met during our time here, during the listening time, who has gone on to do a lot of amazing stuff. And I don't think that I would have slowed down enough to be aware of the talents that exist here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been a heck of a journey. And then I met a girl and then she liked me and then we ended up making people. So you know how that goes.
Sure.
Yeah, we hear the result of that in the background.
You know, I told them, listen, watch the Crudes and let me do my thing. But it's, you know, the witching hour approaches. So
It's okay. It's darling. It's darling. Well, thank you all so very much. Thank you again, Nicholas. You know, like I said, check us out on secondstageamherst.org and learn more about our virtual programming. We're going to continue this Read to Me series. We also currently have a virtual art class that's going on for 5 to 9-year-olds with Jennifer Fitzgerald. And we're always in the planning stages, I guess, as everyone is these days. So just watch for more information. Feel free to join our e-newsletter and we'll keep you guys keeping on. So thanks again, everybody. Have a great night and try to stay warm.
y'all take care.
Good night.
Good night.